Hi everybody, I would like to do a DIY log of this kitchen faucet replacement project that I did about 3 weeks ago. The reason I had to replace the faucet was the old faucet was leaking, and the hardest part of this project was replacing the old faucet. Once I was able to remove the old faucet, putting in the new faucet was pretty easy. The new faucet is this Kraus KPF 1610 stainless steel, and so far it's been performing excellent. I really like this new faucet. But let me tell you what I did to remove the old faucet. First, I tried to use different tools. I had to go underneath the sink here, and I was on my back, underneath the sink on my back, and I was trying to remove the old faucet, and it was very, very difficult to do because the old faucet underneath, it was covered in some kind of calcium buildup, and it made the flange nut and the screws that were pushing onto the flange nut, they were all covered in some kind of calcium deposit, and it made it very, very difficult to loosen and remove. I tried different tools, including the basin wrench here. This is the basin wrench. That didn't work. I also tried this rigid tool. That didn't work either. I even tried to leverage the tool by, see that notch right there? I put a screwdriver through it to try to have more leverage, and that didn't work. So none of the tool worked. And what I ended up doing was I took an angle grinder and I cut from this bottom portion here, I cut all the way through with a 7-inch angle grinder, and with that I was able to remove the old faucet. That was the only way to have removed the old faucet. And like I said, once the old faucet was removed, putting in the new faucet was very quick. It was pretty easy, and I ended up using this basin wrench to tighten the new faucet. So this tool was actually, it became useful when I needed to tighten the new faucet down, because the new faucet at the bottom, it has a shaft that goes through this hole here, and then there's a flange nut that you have to screw it all the way up, and I use the basin wrench to tighten that flange nut, and then there were 2 or 3 screws that you have to screw in to push up against the flange nuts and hold it in place tightly. Yep. So yeah, it was very difficult to remove, and it was because underneath the cabinet there's not a whole lot of space. You see, I got all these pipes right here, these and the garbage disposal, and on top of that there's a sink. So there's hardly any space to have any leverage to remove the old faucet. It was very difficult, and so if you run into that kind of situation, I would recommend just do what I did, is get an angle grinder and just saw this right off right here at the base with an angle grinder. And but you have to be very careful that you don't cut into the granite on the back side here. And yeah, so that's all you have to do. Just be careful. And yeah, so that was the project. I had a Roto-Rooter guy came over to quote me on this job, and he was saying it's gonna be more than $500 just to replace the old faucet. So I did some research and I was able to do it myself, and I saved probably around $500 for that job. Yep. So it was successful. There are no leaks. There's a gasket underneath here, and I didn't need to silicone around here because there's already a gasket down there, and that helps to prevent any water from seeping underneath. And then I also installed, while I was at it, I recaulked the this area right here, this interface between the sink and the granite. I recaulked it. I use a putty knife, and then also some kind of scraper with a blade at the end. But I thought the putty knife was more useful in removing the old grout, the old caulking. I mean, and then I use flex shot to fill in the gap. This right here, the flex shot. Yeah, so before I use the flex shot, I use painter's tape. I tape it all around. That took some time to do. I put painter's tape on either side, on the granite and then on the stainless steel basin here, the sink here. And then I filled up the caulking. I ran my finger through and make sure it gets in the gaps. Once I removed the painter's tape from the sink, I noticed that it lifted the caulking a little bit. So I had to run my finger through again just to make sure that the caulking is airtight, watertight all around. So I ran my finger through it again after the painter's tape was removed. I also installed a soap dispenser that that goes directly to the soap bottle. As you can see there, you can see the soap line and the soap bottle all the way sitting at the bottom. I really like this because what happened was before I had the screwed in bottle right here, and the problem with that was whenever I had to refill from the top, I didn't know when it was gonna overflow. And what happened was a lot of times it would overflow and it would seep out underneath the sink. And once that makes contact with the metals down there, it starts to corrode the metal. So now I don't use this bottle anymore. I use a soap dispenser line that I bought on Amazon. This is really good. It has a long PVC line that connects to the soap bottle, the whole container. It's connected to the whole container, and the container just sits down at the bottom of the sink right there. So this is a really effective method to dispense soap. It's clean. You don't have to worry about refilling the container. The container, once it's empty, you know, and you just put in a new container instead of filling the small bottle at the top, and the problems that have with that arrangement. So yeah, if you're looking at putting in a soap dispenser, I highly recommend getting one of these from Amazon. All right, so yeah, so that was my kitchen project. My kitchen faucet replacement project was involves replacing the kitchen faucet with the Cross 1610 KPF 1610 stainless steel. And while I was replacing the faucet, I went ahead and made some other improvements. I removed the old caulking, put in new caulking, as well as replacing to a new soap dispenser arrangement where the suction the PVC tube goes all the way to the soap container at the bottom. It offers for a much cleaner design arrangement. So yeah, so I highly recommend that. Yeah, so that was my project. Overall, it was a very successful project and saved myself a significant amount of money. All right, that was my kitchen sink replacement project, and I'm gonna sign off now. Talk to you guys later. Bye.